Hello everybody and welcome to Zelda month. That's right, a whole month dedicated to Zelda videos. Back in 2011, Peanut Butter Gamer created the trend of dedicating November to Zelda, and now a lot of content creators, such as myself, have jumped on this bandwagon trend 7 years later and are still making videos in November dedicated to Zelda. So with that little introduction being said, let's kick off this amazing month of Zelda with some Breath of the Wild secrets and Easter eggs. Starting off this video is some secrets you may or may not know about, such as, did you know that you can scare NPCs by wearing the Ganon or Dark Link outfit? They kind of just jump in fear as if they're about to get attacked, but then they just realize that it's just Link behind that. Did you know that you can actually swim faster by not wearing any clothes, armor, or gear? Speaking of being naked, some NPCs such as Hestu and Paya act a little bit different if you talk to them with no clothes on. If you notice Paya acting flustered when Link talks to her with no clothes on, well, that might be because she low-key has a crush on Link. It's kinda hinted at within her diary. But that's not the only secret that Paya has. She kinda has another secret that she's a little bit embarrassed about. Everybody already knows that when taking selfies in this game that you have a few different poses you can choose from by using the analog stick. However, did you know that holding down ZL or ZR you can get 4 more new poses? And on top of that, if you unequipped your shield, you can do even more poses, such as the one from Skyward Sword. This one might not be much of a secret, but more of attention to detail. If you die from some sort of elemental attack, the game over screen will correspond its color to whichever attack you died from. Did you know that when you jump during your stamina bar being red, you jump almost twice the distance as you normally would? If you drop a rusty weapon near a rock Octorok, wow, say that 5 times fast. He will suck it up and spit it back at you brand new. It's a really nice trick when you need a strong weapon fast. After completing the extremely long and annoying side quest from the ground up, you will now be able to visit Terrytown and interact with its NPCs, one of which, named Garante, will sell you a special equipment such as a Nintendo Switch shirt and other hard to get items in the game. Did you know that Ganon's horse is actually in the game and you can ride him and keep him as well? Not only Ganon's horse is in the game, but Zelda's horse is in the game as well. You can keep her and ride her as well. At various stable locations, you can find stray dogs, and if you feed them some food, they might just show you where a chest with some secret items is laying around nearby. But something that's kind of funny to watch is if you go to open up one of these chests without wearing any leg armor, Link will stub his toe trying to open the chest. There's an NPC hanging around one of the shrines named Magda, and if you continuously destroy her flowers, you'll get a pretty funny cutscene. There's an NPC in the game named Brigo who will stop you from jumping off of the bridge. This is actually a really nice attention to detail because this can be portrayed as a suicide prevention awareness. Other than the obvious Epona being in the game, there is one more secret horse in the game that you can find, and that is the skeleton horse. Those are a little bit more common than the other two horses that I mentioned in this video so far, but the main difference about this horse that makes him a little bit more special than the other two horses is you cannot actually register him in the stable. Whoever is running the stable, whatever NPC it is, he will tell you, heck no, we are not keeping this guy in here. He's gonna eat all the other horses. Aw, don't worry about it, little skelly horse. I'll still show you some love. Quick little spoiler warning, I am about to show one of the final bosses in the game, so if you do not want to see that yet, I would skip ahead in the video about 15-20 seconds and you'll be right on to the next section of the video. So during the final part with Dark Beast Ganon, instead of using the light bow that you get, you can use the Twilight bow and you can use the blade from your sword when you have full health. Va Naboris is stated in the game to be named after the Gerudo hero known as Naburo. Va Ruta is one letter off from Ruto, the Zora princess in Ocarina of Time. Va Rudina's name is an anagram of Darunia, the Goron leader in Ocarina of Time. Va Meadow might be a little bit of a stretch, but it could possibly be named after Medley, the Rito girl who helps Link in The Wind Waker. When you place a map marker down in the game, the scrolling text actually reads, "It's dangerous to go alone," a reference back to Zelda 1. The Omen Ao Shrine, I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that, but whatever. Anyways, it's an anagram of Anuma, who is the creator and the producer of the Legend of Zelda series. When activating a Sheikah Tower, the text that scrolls down and drips into the Sheikah slate says, "Master using it and you can have this," which is yet another reference to Zelda 1. During the E3 build of the game, instead of the text saying "Master using it and you can have it," it instead reads, "Now loading, do not turn off your," and then it goes blank. But that's not the only thing that it says. It also says, "All your base are blank," which is actually a reference to Zero Wing and its terrible English translation, to which it says, "All your base are belong to us." On the collector's edition of the box, the Hyrulean text actually reads "The Hyrule Fantasy," which was the subtitle of the very first Zelda game. One of the most popular references in the game is the Ranch Ruins, which is an almost eye-to-eye recreation of the Lon Lon Ranch from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. However, in Breath of the Wild, it is a bit destroyed, but all of the main structures and buildings are still in the same spot as they were in Ocarina of Time, such as the racetrack and the big tower in the back. Yet another extremely obvious location in the game is the Temple of Time. It shares the same name and just about the same exact look as it does from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This may not be a reference, but more attention to detail, but did you notice that the flowers at the Master Sword location are in the same exact positioning as they were during its first debut in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past? In Breath of the Wild, you can go river rafting, but it's not actually the first time we've seen this in the series. In the original Legend of Zelda game, you can also river raft. The Bridge of Hylia looks very similar to the Bridge of Eldin from Twilight Princess, and funny enough, both of the bridges overlook Lake Hylia. In Breath of the Wild, this is the first Zelda game in which we can freely change Link's outfits to however we want, and a lot of these outfits in Breath of the Wild are throwbacks to previous Zelda games. The old man that you meet in the beginning of the game is actually the same old man that you meet in Zelda 1, and funny enough, you both meet them inside of a little cave. Twin Peaks and the scene where Link looks off into the distance and sees the two mountains like this is a reference to Zelda 1 and the art that goes behind it. In the Japanese version of this game, it actually has a different logo than the traditional Legend of Zelda logo. This is only because this Japanese logo is the original Japanese logo from Zelda 1. I'm sorry if that's a little bit confusing, but it makes a lot more sense on screen. The location Spectacle Rock in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is actually a recreation of Spectacle Rock from the original Legend of Zelda game. In this location, it is where you can find the entrance to the very last dungeon in the game, which is Ganon's lair. If you attack the cuckoos too much, they'll start to attack you back and swarm you in big flocks. This is actually a reoccurring Easter egg in Zelda games, starting all the way back from A Link to the Past. This is an Easter egg that you can only do when you have full health, and I believe when you have the Master Sword fully powered up. But if you have it fully powered up and you go to throw your Master Sword, you'll get actually a little blade beam type of thing. This is a reoccurring thing in the Legend of Zelda games. I believe it started off in either Zelda 1 or A Link to the Past, but anyways, it's brought back in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, so give it a shot yourself. The Master Cycle 0 is actually an Easter egg within itself, because it's technically a reference to the Master Cycle in Mario Kart 8. Did you ever notice that while using the camera, sometimes objects far off in a distance will come up as a little question mark box? That question mark box is actually from the Mario series. There's actually quite a few people who think that Robin Williams is reincarnated in Breath of the Wild. One of these people that they think he is Robbie, because they both have the name Rob or Robin, and Robbie is actually kind of quirky like Robin Williams is. The more popular Robin Williams theory is him actually being Dato, and Dato actually speaks of the legend of the Lord of the Mountain. And if you don't know who that is, the Lord of the Mountain is a mythical creature who can be found on the top of Satori Mountain. His name is Satori, which is one letter off from Satoru. Satoru Iwata was the president of Nintendo who passed away a few years ago, but here he is now being reincarnated into Breath of the Wild. If you put on the trousers of the Hero of Time from the NES Link amiibo, you can see a little Octorok from the very first Legend of Zelda game on his pants. In the second DLC expansion, Champion's Ballad, you can notice the monks are all doing different poses. These poses actually all correspond to the poses that the 7 sages do in the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. But that's not the only secret poses that these monks have. If you notice the first 3 or 4 monks that you run into in the beginning of the game right on the Great Plateau, each of them are holding up a triangle pose in a different location. Well, if you take a look at them all side by side, they all make the Triforce symbol. Quick little spoiler warning, I am about to show one of the final bosses in the game, so if you do not want to see that yet, I would skip ahead in the video about 15-20 seconds and you'll be right on to the next section of the video. During the final boss fight on the second DLC expansion, Monk Hazkoshia, I probably butchered that name very terribly, but anyways, if you drop some mighty bananas for him, he might get distracted. This is actually kind of a reoccurring Easter egg in some Zelda games, like for example in the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, you can use the fishing rod to distract Ganon during boss fights. So there's usually some sort of boss in Zelda games that are distracted by some sort of neat toy or object. So I'm not really going to be talking much during this section of the video because we are doing music references now, and I kind of want to shut my mouth so that you guys can hear everything in its entirety. That's all the secrets and Easter eggs that I was able to find. If I happen to miss one, please leave a comment down below. I'm sure I've missed a couple because this game is just massive and filled with them. But if you guys like this video, give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel because I will be doing more Zelda related videos all this month. And I'll be streaming Minish Cap and possibly Majora's Mask this month as well. If you want to stay updated with whenever I go live, you can hit that notification bell, join my Discord with the link down below, or follow me on Twitter. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.